Friends, oh my goodness, how is everyone doing? We are in it right now. We are in money land. We're making pots of money here, just bunches and bunches. This is so crazy. I'm thinking about doing something wild. I'm thinking about getting like a hand tattoo or something. I don't know, something cool. But anyway, I don't know. We're just making. Is this legal? I've said this before, but it doesn't seem legal to make this much money in the market. So obviously, let's talk about Big Bear. Let's talk about Palantir. I hope everyone's doing well. I really do mean that. It was Thursday. We still got one day in this chaotic, crazy market, and things are probably just getting started because we're going right into earning weeks here, and things are probably going to escalate more here. Into next week is a huge week too, so we're going to talk about that. But friends, like I said, glad you're here. Let's get into it. Super excited, man. What a day. Let's go right into Big Bear too. So here we go. So the situation of one reason why Palantir and Big Bear are climbing is there's an event. There's a situation that's happening. This bill that we've been talking about, the bill that passed with AI in it, defense, security, all that kind of stuff, just kind of, putting that into one big batch here. Trump is going to start announcing next week about how who's winning what contracts, where with what, and all that kind of stuff. And two, with that, there's a lot of conversation, the border situation, who's going to win that contract. Now, a lot of people, and I think this could possibly happen, so this is why Big Bear could get even more expensive here. Not to mention just the broad view of Big Bear could get just a random contract with the United States government, again, defense sector, with a lot of tentacles that are going out here with where Trump's wanting to place money here. With either, the Golden Dome, everything that's going to be a part of that, just security in general. But to the border situation, Trump, Big Bear has its Face ID recognition software. So a lot of us have been hinting, gossiping, thinking that Big Bear might be a part of that. And there's, why couldn't they? That could definitely happen here. So this is why Big Bear and Palantir are aggressively moving even more. I mean, this has kind of started since Monday, just Big Bear climbing. Palantir's been climbing. I've been spewing from my mouth here that Palantir is more than likely going to $160 here, and that is definitely looking like it's happening here. So Big Bear specifically, let's talk about Big Bear. Now, obviously, everything I just said is filtering right into Big Bear, and I, on the thumbnail here, I wrote Big Bear to $20. So yesterday, I talked about we're seeing articles are coming out now publicly and saying, is Big Bear going to $20? Hey, it looks like there was one yesterday even said like, hey, it looks like Big Bear could be pushed to $20. That's pretty crazy. That's wild that you're having articles pushed out there. So not only, I think Big Bear has finally got to this position of it's valued for this price. $7 to $9. That's a good place for Big Bear to be, okay? That's a more reasonable place. I mean, we were buying Big Bear 5 weeks ago for $3-4, okay? And we knew it was highly undervalued at that point. So I think that's why a lot of us have stuck with it here. Now we're in this place of, okay, we're in some uncharted water, and this is taking a minute to get to this place. So today we've had this huge push up in Big Bear. I mean, look at that one candlestick chart right there. I mean, once the bell hit here today, I mean, it was nonstop. Big Bear climbed all the way from a $7 position. I mean, like 7.5 to $8.35. That is a lot of money. That is a lot of volume. That is a lot of push right there. So it ended today, it's still in this high $8 range, which is, what is that telling us? That's telling us that a lot of people did not take heavy profit. A lot of people held because they believe that there's more coming. Now, I don't think I don't think the conversation at this point is, will Big Bear hit $10? I think it's a matter of, when are we going to see $10? Is it tomorrow? Is it next week? I think that's a very real conversation at this point. I think a lot of us will probably agree on that. So $8, we've pretty much achieved that. We're in $8 position right now, and this is what I said yesterday too, that all we're watching right now is a new staircase being built. We're just watching a staircase being built, and it's the next heavy place here that we're going with Big Bear into this double-digit position here. So $9 is probably going to be the next place where everyone's going to be like, oh my gosh, we're in $9 range, and then obviously we're going right into the 10s. Now, Big Bear's been at $10 here in the past few months. We've seen $10, but it was nothing. That run was nothing compared to what this run is here. This run that we're in right now with Big Bear, this is whole new foundation. This is a construction zone of Big Bear being built into this new place financially with the stock itself, because what you're watching here is FOMO. What you're watching with the FOMO is people going, I'm willing to take this ride right now that Big Bear, in this hunch, in these breadcrumbs that we're picking up along the way, that Big Bear more than likely is going to get some sort of government contract. Well, not to with, just to say that with that, what I said before, Trump's talking next week, and he's going to be talking about where he's placing money, what they're pushing into. Big Bear was intense this week. It could be even more intense going into Monday, Tuesday of next week. 100%. Don't kid yourself on that. Friends, this is a moment of, a lot of people made a lot of money today. I would dare say the majority of investors at this point in the game with Big Bear are probably in some big profit zone. You could have bought this stock Monday at $6. Okay. Last Friday you could have bought it at even, at a high 5, I think, or at least a low 6. So, this is a heck of a run. This is a heck of a run that we have seen here. And this is 2 weeks in a row. It's really 5 weeks here, 4 or 5. We'll say that this has been building into this, but the past 2 weeks have been heavy profit taking with this stock. And today, Big Bear, like I said, it held its ground. This is this candlestick chart that was built out today, this huge push here to this 835 position. We didn't fall far from that. And even after hours here, Big Bear is still climbing. It's playing around this position of $8.20 to 24 cents. So even after hours, Big Bear's still, tossing around some numbers here. It's a telltale thing that tomorrow we're probably going to continue into this push. I would be willing to bet here. Now, obviously, who knows? Drama could appear in the market tomorrow. Nothing's ever guaranteed in our market here. But more than likely, it looks like the battlefield is being set up for a heavy push tomorrow. And I think that's a clear-cut image of what we're looking at right now. So the 9s might be here tomorrow. We might be in the $9 range tomorrow. That's exciting. That's really exciting. Friends, we're a part of something right now. And that's what's so exciting, that I think people that come in here and they enter into this realm of Big Bear right now, you either are aware of what's going on right now with contracts with Big Bear, you are aware of what's going on with this huge defense sector part of the bill that just got passed here 2 weeks ago. You either get it or you don't, and that's okay. That's okay. But I don't think that it's okay to say that a lot of us are here because the expectation of that Big Bear could just continue into these defense deals 100%, and that's okay. That's what we're looking for. Defense deals completely made Palantir who they are today and changed them as a business. So if we can get that going with Big Bear, we'll take it. We'll take it 100%. So imagine that. Imagine and obviously this is all speculated, that something could happen here, but imagine it. Really, think of where we're at right now. 5 weeks ago, when I was making videos about Big Bear, if you were there, it was easy to scan through the comments and see people going like, you should be ashamed of yourself for telling people to buy this stock. You don't listen to this fool. He's going to lead you down a bad path. I've always said Big Bear is it's a rocky situation because it's not got a great foundation for what could be the future. We're getting there. It's a construction site. But one thing, that we can see is that it's headed in the right direction where the market's going. And that's what's been very attractive about it. If you're willing to take risk, it pays off sometime in the market. So, but imagine if you've been here for a while now with Big Bear, what you've been through. Imagine that. Okay, this is just little tidbits of situations that are occurring right now. This is profit. This is money. This is great. But friends, I want to tell you that if next week or somewhere in this month, something, revenue, the quarterlies that are coming out here very soon with Big Bear, that's one thing, okay? That's one thing. What do we know? We know they're going to be better. They're probably not going to pass, but they're going to be better. Great, whatever. The thing that we're looking at right now is Big Bear going to get more government contracts? And how big are they going to be? what we know right now, imagine this, what we've had so far. Imagine next week Big Bear gets a government contract for X amount of money, maybe the biggest one they've ever seen. All the work that's been done up until this point, if you've been here with Big Bear, maybe you're just getting here. I want to tell you, there's been a lot going on here to make this happen with what's going on right now. And right now, I believe that we are fundamentally in the second phase of the build out with Big Bear. We're watching it, okay? Now, obviously, listen, I said this last week, okay? We took profit, and there's going to be tidal waves. Where there's a lot of profit, don't be naive that investors are not going to, the market's going to take its money. Investors are going to take their money, and the market's going to do what it does, okay? So with that, we saw a lot of people take profit last week when Big Bear hit that high $8 range. Then we sold off all the way back to $6 last Friday. Now look at where we're at. July 17th, Thursday, still 1 day left in the market. It's a complete reversal. It's a complete reverse of what's going on right now. So now we're talking about, okay, looks like we're going into $9 here. Okay, now on top of that, next week, maybe we'll know more about what the future of Big Bear is. And why I say quarterlies may not be that important right now. They're important, of course, for the person in here like, no. I get it 100%. Big Bear needs money. That's what drives up a stock, a company, all that. Of course, revenue. We don't want to see them, not make money. But what I'm saying is the expectation of what could happen here is much more thick in the aroma of what's going on with Big Bear. So if Big Bear, let's just imagine Big Bear received a $500 million contract from the government. Do you know what that would do to the stock price overnight? It would change everything with the stock, with the company. Fundamentally, everything would change for all of us, because it wouldn't just be us, the little guys in here, us, buying Big Bear at $3, $4, $5, $6, $7, $8, $9, maybe tomorrow. It wouldn't just be us anymore. Then what happens? Well, then our private party, it's seen by a lot more. Then Wall Street starts looking in. Then bigger players with more money start looking in here on Big Bear. This is when things get expensive. I watched this happen with Palantir. I've watched it happen with a lot of stocks. And I get to see different sides of stocks because I have a YouTube channel. I follow maybe a lot more stocks than the average investor. I listen, this is why I made 2 YouTube channels. I have the main channel here, and I have another channel, Dillon with Money channel 2. Which, thank you so much for subscribing to that. But there's so many stocks that I am watching on a weekly period. But the main channel here, I'm really just staying to a handful of few, okay? I can talk about many different stocks, okay? But really honing in on focusing on just a few here that I think are really going places that really excite me about their future. Big Bear being one of them. This is one reason why I started talking about Big Bear last year, back in November, October, whenever that was, because it was that first government contract they got. That was really exciting. And I went, hold up, what's this? I didn't buy Big Bear because I thought it was some cool, unique AI company. 8 months ago, before that first government contract with Big Bear, this was a crap company. I'm just gonna be honest with you. This was a stock that I would, if anybody brought this to me, I'd be like, there is no way I'm getting involved in that. A $2 stock on a good day. But that's not the case anymore. Things have changed dramatically. Okay. Listen, this market is progressing year by year on how it moves with volatility, with push, with money, everything. And this is why I believe this. I've talked about this with friends that are in the market. We are seeing stocks grow at such a faster rate. Not to mention our economy, everything is pushing more money in right now to tech stocks. That, the crave and the feeding frenzy right now that is going the money into the market is 100% being pushed into AI stocks. And if they have anything to do with defense, security, anything like that, it's even more aggressive. So right now, Big Bear is very much in that realm right now where we're just watching it really, really take off. So friends, I don't know what next week brings. It may just be Trump doing one of his interviews and kind of just giving some groundwork of where they're going. But it's more clues to the puzzle of what we're going through here with Big Bear. But listen, we've gone this far with Big Bear. I'm more than willing to bet things are going to get a lot more aggressive here. But listen, too, and this is why I've said this, take profit along the way. There's nothing wrong with that. Take some profit. It doesn't mean you need to sell everything. Just take some profit. When Big Bear falls back down, shove it back in there. Accumulate as much as you can for this ride, okay? Obviously, don't get yourself in a hole. Don't get yourself bag holding. But, Big Bear, too, it's a great example. Whether you've been in the market for 10 years or 10 months or 10 days, it's a great example of watching how FOMO, breadcrumbs, clues, context clues, futures of where the market's going, what Big Bear is doing right now. It's a great example. Okay, you're watching people trying to be a part of something before it actually happens with Big Bear. Okay, and that's why we're seeing such heavy aggression in it right now. 100%. I'm drinking the juice. You know where I'm at with it. I'm drinking the juice. I think that Big Bear is going to continue to grow here. I really do. I think we're going to see these heavy pushes along the lines. And essentially they're coming one at a week. We're getting a heavy push at least once a week at this point. So today was a heavy push. Maybe tomorrow will be even heavier. It's wild. Sometimes it gets a little scary to make as much money as a lot of you are making. I get it, man. I know a lot of people are like, oh, this is crazy. What's going on right now? I get it. Friends, let's talk about Palantir. So I talked about Palantir a lot last night. Now I don't want to hype on it too much more, but I've been thinking and saying here that I believe Palantir is going to 150. We're well past 150 at this point. We're going into 160 here, and I do believe before these quarterlies here, with less than 20 days out, that Palantir will produce $160 price range, somewhere in that 160 range here. We're very close at this point. I mean, we could be in it tomorrow. Who knows? Who knows what this market's going to do tomorrow? Now, obviously, the investor in me, the square in me, the boring guy wants to go, well, we've had a lot of push today. I would probably be careful about thinking that things are going to pump again tomorrow. Who knows? It's hard to read this market right now. There's a lot going on, especially when you're talking about Big Bear, you're talking about Palantir, who were very much, they're on their own path right now besides the market. They'll ride along with the market, but each of them are on their individual path right now with where they're going. They're attached to not only tech, software, but they're attached to the White House, Trump, defense, security, what could be, hype, FOMO, everything. My favorite word, zeitgeist of what the market is. You know me, that's my t-shirt. But it is a situation of Big Bear is in this beautiful situation. And for the person that still doesn't believe in Palantir, listen, all we can do is lead them to the well to drink. I don't, it's up to them to be a part of what's going on. I said this at $50. I said this at $70. I said this at $100. I'm saying it here at $160. I think Palantir is going to $200. If this continues with this much aggression in the stock, with quarterlies coming out that are 40, 45, 50%, maybe we're getting into a 55% range on top of each quarterly growing, Palantir, you're going to be trying to catch it. When I say Palantir is going to $200, there's people that are saying Palantir is going a lot more than that. That's honestly, if you don't listen to other people on YouTube, which I think you should listen to other people. There's when you're investing, do it with people. Listen to other people. Of course I want people to watch me, but it's good to get other people's thoughts too, where people are going. There's people, I've talked about this, that I listen to. I love Tory Trading. I love Jeremy. Everybody knows Jeremy. I mean, he's the godfather of all this. And then, you got Tom Nash. Tom, last time I checked in on Tom's got crazy numbers where he thinks Palantir is going. But he was one of those guys too who was, like me, saying that, this is a special situation, 2-3 years ago when we were talking about Palantir. So, but Tom's, he's got a huge number on Palantir, and I 100%, I'm right there with him. And then you got Dan Ives, for God's sakes, who's a part of the Wall Street, who is saying Palantir is going into $1 trillion market cap within a short handful of years here. And why would you not believe it? Why would you not believe that Palantir is not progressing into this heavier zone. Listen, I've said this before. Why would I break down a candlestick chart right now with Palantir? There's no reason. Palantir is moving in block formation. It's moving in $10 formation, $15 maybe closer in some time zones we've had here. But getting closer to quarterlies, Palantir is following this general path of, before quarterlies, it really moves up into a $10, $15 range, maybe 20. We've even seen that. And then quarterlies come out, and when quarterlies show themselves as really good, it moves up even more. But then after that, of course, people take profit, they sell off. But Palantir finds itself in this new price range. So potentially here, after quarterlies, wherever we land at to the highest mark, maybe Palantir's saying, hey, I'm going to go right into 160s, maybe get into 170s. I don't know. But 160s, I think, is pretty much guaranteed at this point. But with that, the new low with Palantir, which is crazy that I'm about to say this, the new low is 150, 160, maybe 140 on a really tough day in the market, on a tidal wave day. This is crazy. That's crazy. This is one of the fastest, shortest investments in the history of the stock market right now, with where the stock is going. This is amazing. And you're watching something just unfold that is so good, you couldn't write it up yourself. You're talking about a company right now that is in the trenches of all the deals that are unfolding right now in the White House. They're literally neighbors with the bank right now. And they're just printing money. So, like I said, I'm not going into a candlestick chart. Palantir's way past the candlestick chart. We know it's going to continue to grow in aggression with stock price, 100%. Friends, people ask, is there still time to get in Palantir? People are asking, is there still time to get in Palantir at $100, at 130, 40, 50, where we're at right now? I think people are going to be saying that when Palantir's at $180 in a few months. They're going to go, do you think it's too late to get in Palantir? I don't think it's too late to get in Palantir for the next year, if you really think about what's coming here the next 4 to 5 years. And that's why I talked about Dan Ives saying this is going to be $1 trillion. Do you understand when I say $1 trillion market cap, what mathematically that translates into a stock price? We're going to be talking about, and some articles are already talking about this because they're trying to get ahead of it and put it out there in the ether. The zeitgeist. There's stock splits that will be happening. A stock split at least to start here with Palantir. Now it may just be a 3-to-1, something small, but still, imagine that. Imagine next year we're talking about stock splits. Imagine by 2027, maybe the end of 2026, we're talking about a stock split with Palantir. How much faster can the stock grow? How much more loony bins can this get? It continues to just fool everyone. But yeah, you couldn't ask for a better situation where it's at right now. Friends, I'm excited. Let me know what you think on hand tattoos. Am I just getting a little crazy? I'm in my 30s. Maybe I'm going through a midlife crisis. I don't know. I'm excited. My God, I don't even talk about crypto on here, but for people that hold XRP, crypto in general, Dogecoin, Cardano, the White House just released a thing today saying that these are the coins that they hold as that they're looking at, and Cardano was one of them. So, XRP is about to hit $4, all-time high. Crazy. Friends, take care of yourself. I will talk to you soon. Bye, everyone.